Hi kids, how you doing? It's almost summer. Can you believe it? Beach, roller coasters, travel, good times. Almost there, but not quite there. A couple more weeks, even less, of study before the final exam. Final exams are early June, and they're going to be tough. They're going to be tough, but I know you can do well. I've got a few things I want to show you that are really going to help you focus for the finals. And if you focus on these problems, I'm sure you'll do just fine. Quadratic equations are a different way of solving problems that you can't factor. So you might get a problem you can't factor, and you can use the quadratic formula to find what are called the roots or the zeros of the equation. Okay? So check it out. Okay, so let's take your basic problem on page 593 from your homework. This is 13-4, chapter 13, section 4 in the book. And this is number 1. It's pretty straightforward. X squared minus 4x equals 21. X squared minus 4x equals 21. Well, one thing you have to do is that everything has to equal 0. So you want to subtract 21 on both sides. And you'll get x squared minus 4x minus 21 equals 0. Now you've got a trinomial over here. A square is the leading term. 3 terms here. And it's all equal to 0. Factors of 21 are 21 and 1. 21 times 1, 7 times 3. And in this case, okay, you can factor this, x minus 7 and x plus 3. That'll work. So we add 7 on both sides, solve this equation, and we get x equals 7. And we subtract 3 on both sides, and we get x equals negative 3. These are our two roots, 7 and negative 3, are the two answers or solutions, or we call them roots, to this quadratic equation. When we graph that, you'll see that these are the two places that the graph of this quadratic, this equation, this trinomial, it's the graph of this trinomial, it's where the graph of this trinomial equals 0. It's where the x-intercepts are. Is there another way to get that answer? Yeah, with the quadratic equation. Quadratic equation is x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, which is the discriminant, all over 2a. Now this part here, the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac, tells us how many roots we're going to have. These are the roots. How many solutions we're going to have. And in this case, we already know, because we factored it, that we're going to have 2 roots. Well, how do you know? By looking at the discriminant, if this is positive, you know you're going to have 2 roots. Well, let's have a look and see. What are a, b, and c? A, b, and c are the leading coefficients of the trinomial. So we've got x squared minus 4x minus 21, okay, equals 0. And our leading coefficients are a equals 1, that's the invisible 1, b equals negative 4, that's the second term, and it's the leading coefficient, and this c equals negative 21. All right? So these coefficients can get plugged into this formula. Let's look at the discriminant first. B squared minus 4ac. Well, we've got b times b, which is negative 4 squared. Use your pockets, all right? Put negative 4 squared in some parentheses, minus 4 onto a onto c. So a is 1 and c is negative 21. So we go ahead and get 16 minus 4 times negative 21. Those are both negative, so negative times negative is a positive, and we get 84. 16 plus 84. And that's a positive number. That's greater than 0. It's equal to 100, which is greater than 0. This is 100 is greater than 0, means 2 roots. And you'll see why in just a second. 2 roots are solutions. Okay? Means 2 roots. All right, so we plug this in the quadratic formula. Negative b, okay, we put our parenthesis x equals. Remember, these are the 2 roots or solutions that we're looking for. Negative b, those also happen to be x-intercepts. Plus or minus the square root of pocket squared minus 4 pocket pocket all over 2 pocket. All right, 2 pocket. The b is negative 4, we put it in. The b squared is negative 4 squared minus 4a, 1c, negative 21. So then we go, 2a is 1, 2 over 1, so we just figure this out, substituting everything in. 4 plus or minus square root of 16 minus, now this is the plus 100 that we were talking about. 4 times 21 is, well, we already figured this out, didn't we? 84. And we know that this discriminant is equal to 100, so in a way we don't have to figure it out again. We've already done it. So this whole thing is 4 plus or minus the square root of 100 all over 2. The square root of 100 is all everybody knows is 10, so it's 4 plus or minus 10 over 2. Now some people get confused by this plus or minus thing. Well, plus or minus is because there are 2 roots. I mean, there are 2 roots if this is positive. Positive in the negative case. So and that has to do with the nature of square roots. So we got 4 plus 10 over 2, and we've got 4 minus 10 over 2. And if we keep going here, 4 plus 10 is 14, 14 over 2. And 4 minus 10 is negative 6 over 2. So our answer is, da-da-da-dum, 7 and negative 3. Okay, this one's asking you to use the quadratic formula to find the roots of each polynomial. This is page 593, number 25. Now notice in these questions, it doesn't say equal to 0. Don't worry, it's the same process. If you understood what we did in the last problem, you'll get this one, no problem. We're looking for the roots of each polynomial. It's the same thing as when we make it equal to 0 and find the solutions. They just call it something different. So in this case, again, we make a equals 1, b equals 6, and c equals 5. You must draw this out. Please don't make any shortcuts. Please write down a, b, and c every time. Don't use shortcuts and do this in your head. You're bound to make mistakes, especially when these are negative. So here we go. Let's put it into the quadratic formula. But let's calculate the discriminant first to see what kind of roots we're going to get. Well, we're going to get 6 squared minus 4 onto 1 times 5. That's 36 minus 20, which equals 16. It's greater than 0, so we're going to get 2 roots. Great. Now we know what we're looking for. We know what we're going to get in general, and we can go ahead and solve the quadratic formula with no big problem. Negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac, which is the discriminant, all over 2a. And now a, put a pocket in, it's equal to 1. b squared minus 4ac, well, we just calculated that. That's equal to 16, right? And negative b is negative 6. So here we go. X equals, okay, the roots are negative 6 plus or minus 4, because the square root of 16 is equal to 4, all over 2, negative 6 plus 4 over 2, and negative 6 minus 4 over 2. That equals 10 over 2, negative 6 plus 4. That equals negative 2 over 2 and negative 10 over 2. And in turn, that equals negative 1 and negative 5. Those are our 2 roots, as found by the quadratic formula. So you see, either method, either way, whether it's the quadratic formula equal to 0, then we solve for the solutions, or it doesn't give you an equal to 0 sign and just asks for the roots, you're basically doing the exact same thing. Looking for the discriminant, getting the nature of the problem, looking at what kind of roots you're going to get. Are you going to get 0, 1, or 2 roots, solving it out, and getting, in this case, 2 solutions.